What's up, everybody? Crypto Noah back with another weekly macro update. Guys, happy September. We're going to look at some September data, and I'm going to let you guys know how I think the market is going to play out this month. You guys already know what I am predicting for this quarter, so I'm not going to waste any time. Let's jump straight into it, and per usual, none of this should be taken as financial advice. So we have the Federal Open Markets Committee meeting on September 17th, around a week away from when I'm shooting this video. And everyone is expecting the Fed to cut rates, and a lot of people think that they're actually late in cutting rates, as people have been calling for rate cuts since July. So this is the Kobayashi letter. This reminds me of that Step Brother scene.
It's the biggest helicopter leasing event in the Western Hemisphere since 1997.
Why does he keep doing that?
I have to sell or lease at least 80 choppers to make my nut. And you mess with my nut, Brennan? Randy here is gonna eat your dick.
Like Kobayashi.
I've seen him do it.
You've actually seen him eat a man's penis?
It was in international waters, so they couldn't prosecute him, but I saw it.
Anyway, it says the Fed is about to join the global rate cut cycle. There has now been 88 rate cuts worldwide year to date, the most since 2020. The event that we all went through. All the central banks lowered rates to stimulate the economy because, no one was buying anything due to, This puts 2025 on track for the third fastest global cutting cycle on record, according to Bank of America. The European Central Bank and the Bank of England have cut rates 4 times and 3 times this year, respectively. And the Bank of Canada has cut rates twice. And along with the Swiss National Bank, which became the first major central bank to bring rates back to zero. Meanwhile, the United States Federal Reserve remains on hold with 0 rate cuts in 2025. Not only is the United States Fed late, not only are people anticipating a 25 basis point cut, but the odds of a 50 basis point cut, which I think is more unlikely to be honest, have increased to 10%. Now there has been times where the Fed was late in cutting rates and they ended up doing a larger cut to make up for the lost time. So you can see here that markets think that it's a 10% chance that we can get a 50% cut. And if that happens, guys, markets will be on fire. Guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed, but pretty likely. And Polymarket is predicting the same thing. They think we have an 86% chance of a 25 basis point cut, 10% chance of a 50 basis point cut, a 3.3% chance of no cut, and a 0.3% chance that the Fed will actually go ahead and raise rates 25 bips. I wonder who the guys are that voted for that. All right, so now here we are on CoinGlass. And, September historically isn't the best month for crypto. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red months historically, and 1, 2, 3, 4 green months historically. Now, obviously the economic climate is different this time, but historically September is not the best month. Q4 and Q1 historically are the best months. So I think that if we get a rate cut in September, I think things will go pretty high to the end of the year, probably to Q1. So definitely, guys, get your take profit strategies in place so that you're not round tripping, because I'm sure, we've all did it once. I know I did it last cycle, but we will not be doing that again. All right, guys, now here we are on the crypto fear and greed index, and we are at a 43. We are in fear territory. While markets are still at high levels, this is a really, really, really good sign. I can't stress this enough. This just tells us that we have a lot more room to go. If people aren't excited when markets are already high, when we're on the verge of rate cuts, when we're on the verge of Q4 and all the other bullish things that's happening with stablecoins and the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, and Trump just launched World Liberty Financial Token. If that ain't enough to get people excited, then it's only one more thing that will, and that's higher prices. And this is telling me that we have more of that. If we look at the altcoin season index, we are still a ways from altcoin season, right? We have not experienced a real altcoin season. Retail is still very much on the sidelines, and institutions, they're taking their time and getting in. And if we take a look at the crypto ETFs, we have been experiencing some outflows, right? But like I said, this is going to ebb and flow. Just like the Bitcoin chart, you see ups and downs, same thing with the ETF, inflows and outflows. We've experienced mostly outflows since around the 28th. But as we go into Q4 and, Bitcoin continues to rise, assuming that it does, this will pick up. Same thing with Ethereum. We've experienced more outflows than inflows since around August 25th. So about a week, not too bad. So if we look at our macro factors, M2 money supply, still at around same level, still rising. And I expect this to rise with the Genius Act. I talked about that in one of my previous updates. If we look at gold, gold's been pumping. right? And this is actually good for Bitcoin because they call Bitcoin digital gold. So if Bitcoin is going to catch gold in market cap, let's check the gold market cap. Right now, the gold market cap is 24.7 trillion. Bitcoin's market cap is 2.2 trillion. That means in order for Bitcoin to reach that market cap, that's an 11x price gain, which is an 1100% return. We look at the S&P 500, we're still, charting, making new highs, seems like every week, almost every day. Obviously, crypto market moves with the stock market for now still. The Dow Jones is at an all-time high. The NASDAQ is at an all-time high. And we got Coinbase stock still doing, pretty well. Still not as high as its IPO, which is crazy. But it's been, it's still in an uptrend, creating higher highs and higher lows. And it has since corrected since it was at $437. But definitely bullish on Coinbase for sure. Now, if we look at Bitcoin, we're just turning this previous level that was resistance, 107, into support. I want us to hold this as long as we can. Like I say all the time, longer the base, the higher the chase. We're on the weekly. We already got, 3 touches? If we look on the daily, we got many touches. So that's good. Our 62 is still on top of our 200. Even though the market is under our 62, I still like what I see here. Sometimes Bitcoin just has to cool down a bit, but I like that we're holding this level of previous resistance as support. If we look at ETH is just consolidating just below previous all-time highs, right? This was the previous local top. So as long as we hold this 4K level, I think, like I say, the longer the base, the higher the chase. It's just going to keep touching. We might go back down to 4K. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's setting us up for an explosive rally to continue into Q4 or Q1, in my opinion. And same thing here with the total market cap. We're back inside of our channel. We're still in an uptrend, got our 62 on top of our 200. So I'm still liking what I see here. And if we look at Bitcoin dominance, that thing is dropping like a rock, guys. This tells me that altcoin season is confirmed. We have our cross here. Our 200-day is crossed pretty obviously on our 62, right? And keep in mind, this is the daily, right? We have not had a drop this big since the previous altcoin cycle, since we had this one, right? We had these small drops and we've just been going up and up, but now we finally have a legit drop. Keep in mind, this drop is coming while Bitcoin is near all-time highs. Bitcoin hasn't really cooled off yet. And we're on the daily. If we look at the weekly, we still have a little ways to go. And we still want to see our 200-day get under our 62. So you see the writings on the wall in the short-term time frames, but on the long-term time frame, we still need to get that cross for ultra confirmation. And confirmation isn't even confirmation. It's basically just you want to stack the probabilities in your favor, right? So you see last time we had the 200-day under our 62. We had the 200-day under our 62. We need to have that again in order to see an altcoin cycle. Unless Bitcoin just continues to rise, but the liquidity has to come from somewhere. And if we look at the ETH to BTC ratio, we're still above our 62. We're back above our purple line, which has been a strong level of support and resistance. So we're probably going to hover around here, probably come back down a little bit, test it as support, and eventually get back within this trend line that we've been respecting since around 2016. So I'm not surprised. This is, it's been a strong area of support. So the market's probably going to bounce off of it, come down before we come back up and start making our way back up here before we eventually get back on this trend line. Other than that, markets are pretty cool. Still yield farming, getting those good yields. If you guys want to learn how to yield farm, so you can just be printing cash throughout these lull times, right? DeFi is always working. The APRs are really good. The risk is pretty low. So if that sounds like it's interesting to you guys, we're printing triple-digit yields on the daily. Literally, figuratively, literally. If that's interesting to you, click the link in the description. You got 2 options. You can either book a free call with me and we'll see if our program's a good fit, or you can join our free community and get the lay of the old land, see how you like it. You can upgrade at a later time. Also, we do 2 virtual presentations every week. You can always book from the same link, from the webinar jam link that's in the description, where we give a whole presentation on DeFi as a whole, why it's important, why it matters, how it fits into the current regime, as well as showing our live profits that we've been getting for months. Okay, so if that interests you, hopefully I'll see you there. But with that, thank you so much for watching. I love every single one of you who tuned in, and I'll see you next week for the next macro update. Take care and trade safe.